So, there is no real economy or any use for what I'm about to do in this game. No use at all. I'm simply playing pretend. That's my disclaimer for this video. Because many people think that there's a reason for all this and everything. No, nothing. But what I do is I try to run my own little, I guess, NASA type thing. This is my International Space Station docker, and I don't need the landing legs. This is my ISS docker. I use this to get to my space station, which you will see within the time in which I launch this to it, if it loads. There you go. So, basically, use these, full power, steadily climbing. Now, I kind of cheat when landing this first stage. I use parachutes. I know, I could land it normally. I don't want to, though. This one also has parachutes, although that was when I was trying to land the second stage too. Now I'm being more realistic and just dropping it, letting it hit the ground really hard, and destroying itself. So I'll cut to the booster separation. Time for booster separation. Oop. Booster separated. Continue heading upward. Now jumping to main engine cutoff and first stage separation. Quickly jumping in for a pitch kick, or what some people call a gravity turn at the Kármán line, so I can begin circularizing my orbit. So, there's that. Engine cut off in a second, and first stage separation, I orient it vertically so that everything is pointing in the direction it should be. I then switch my focus from the first stage to the second stage, while my secondary focus is on the first stage. Turn on my second stage so that it starts in its orbit, and if I were at any time to press switch 2, it switches me to the first stage. So that way, while this is heading in that direction, if I see that I'm too close to the ground, I can press switch and land my stage. So, we'll cut to that. The interesting thing about the way I release the first stage is it gives me enough time to get a complete low Earth orbit where I don't have to worry about the second stage anymore. See, if you reach low Earth orbit, will pop up. And I have my complete orbit right here, and I can switch back right as it's beneath the Kármán line, follow it down to the ground. So, we are heading at 870 meters per second, not miles per second, meters per second. This is a metric system. So we're going pretty fast. The atmosphere is slowing us down a little bit, but something that'll slow us down more are the parachutes. Now, I can release the parachutes, like I said in my moon landing video. I can release them at 2,500 meters. That takes way too long to get to the ground. So I'd release it at about the same point that I said in the moon landing video, for everything around here, 500 meters, 400, around there. Now, something great about the landing legs, let me just quickly release the parachutes. I have timed the landing legs, or not really timed them, but figured it out in my year of playing this. If you open these somewhere in the mid-20s, they fully expand or extend just in time to hit the ground. So about 25. There you go. First stage landed. So I will switch back to my second stage. I will recover first stage. Now it's time to intersect the space station. So this is kind of the same as the moon, except I can't click it and target it, and it gives me a prograde line. What I need to do is I need to keep going until I see a straight line there. I will stop the rotation, the time warp, and I will burn prograde, or no, that's retrograde. I will burn prograde so as to enlarge my orbit. I do that until it's touching there. So I'm just gonna quickly flutter it, make sure it's touching. Ooh, and a little bit. This is where I use the RCS, so I can be exact. This helps us get on a closer course, but it also helps us crash. So there you go. And we have ourselves another straight line. I'll time warp to right across from that straight line. Orient myself in the correct direction and burn prograde. And we will now see that our line of closest intercept shortens to a manageable length to about right there. So now, if I go more forward, by pressing the down button, we see it puts us farther apart. So I press the up button, which makes us go backwards a little bit, and we'll see to where it takes us. Ooh, that's a little bit too. So, right there, just to be safe. So, now we will orbit back around to that point. And here we are coming up on intercepting with each other. Ooh. So now, let's look on the screen at where the space station is. Right there. So we decrease the relative velocity by using up the RCS. And as you see now, as I explained in the other video, with the low gravity of the moon, using the RCS pushes you around a lot. With the normal gravity of the Earth, or I say normal, it might not be normal compared to other planets, but I have to lay down on this button for it to work, for it to finally start bringing that up. And it's going to the left, so I go to the left too, so I can stop myself from going too far past it. And we see it start coming up towards us. Still coming up. And we'll skip to the docking procedure. the RCS too much, you might just go a little bit too fast and not be able to stop in time and hit the space station, like I have done multiple times. And luckily I had a save file that I had made before the time, because I consider myself smart in that area of failing. Maybe not. I have used the RCS too much in this case, but I haven't hit the space station. I've just got myself a little off course, and now we press the right button and the up button to further orient ourselves in the direction of the space station. So you'll notice this with the two bottom ports. The two bottom ports are for medium-sized docking, left and right are for small docking, and the top is for large docking. And yes, I have designed this space station myself. Try to make it look like the actual space station, although it doesn't. It's as close as I could get. But you'll notice with the orientation of my ships, I point the direction of where it would go next away from the station. That is because in the past, I have docked like this. I accidentally turned the engine on, released the docking hold, and smacked into the station. And this was without the save. So now, as a precaution, I dock like this. That way, if the engine accidentally comes on and I disengage the docking mechanism, I fly away from the spaceship, or from the space station. The spaceship flies away from the space station. So now, we have successfully docked this ship. We will now take this ship back down to Earth. So, I am now in the spaceship. My primary target is this space station. So I'll move my primary target to the spaceship, or the rocket RCS away, and head back to Earth. So I would go down. Retrograde is this way, so I'd move to the side as to not run into the space station. Turn on my engine and safely start heading back to Earth. So as soon as my line touches the Earth, or a good distance into the Earth, I turn my engine off. I jettison my capsule, and I move with RCS to the side away from the capsule and fire. That way, I bring that orbit in much closer than the other one. Quickly try to select the capsule. So that way the capsule still hits the Earth, and the second stage will crash into the Earth without putting the capsule in any danger. So I will wait until this fuel runs out, switch back to the capsule. So let's skip ahead. The second stage has run out of fuel, so we're switching to the capsule, and we will go ahead and time warp down to the surface. Capsule hits the ground, or not capsule, second stage hits the ground, capsule goes below 25 kilometers, space station still safely orbiting. So now I orient myself with the ground, and we just wait for 500 meters. So, see you there. up and coming 500 meters. 500 meters has passed, and we deploy the parachute. It's half deployed, and I have said this in the other video, it automatically fully deploys at 100 meters. And we will now start seeing the ground come into view as I safely touch down. In my next video, I will be showing how I resupply the space station, hopefully not failing. So, thank you for joining me in this video. I'll see you in the next one.